Hi, my name is Mark Biernath. I'm an attorney in the Atlanta area with a special emphasis in special needs planning. This is part 3 of a multiple part series dealing with special needs planning. In the first part, we looked at why it's important to engage in special needs planning, and in the second part, we looked at what goes into a special needs trust. In this section, we're going to look at some of the mistakes people make when planning for their child with special needs. We'll be looking at some clips from a seminar that I recently did up in Summerville, Georgia, for a group of parents with special needs children. Special needs trusts hopefully avoid many of the costly mistakes people make when planning for special needs. One thing that I'd heard as a very frequent planning tool was simply disinherit the child. That is the quick and dirty way to do it. It does protect eligibility for government benefits, but it leaves the child who needs the help the most in the most vulnerable position. Your other children will have opportunities to go to college, to go to school, to make their own way, to be able to work, earn their own living. Your child with special needs may not ever have that opportunity. And as I tell parents when they're deciding how much money should go to where, equal does not necessarily mean fair. Most typical children realize that they are in a better position than their sibling with special needs. Many of them also realize that if mom and dad don't make plans, they will feel the moral obligation to step in, and some will, some won't. And to be honest with you, the ones who will and do a good job at it are fewer and fewer. And especially, you look at a situation like right now, money is tight. They might be well-intentioned, they want to provide care, but they'll say, you know what, I've got to deal with my own family. Other situation, this is actually moving on to the next topic here. So, one of the other mistakes that people make when planning for their children with special needs is relying on their other children to provide for their child with special needs. I've heard of other attorneys say just leave it all to Brother Sam to take care of Julie. And the question is, Sam may be perfectly willing to do that, want to do that, but Sam's wife might have other ideas. Sam's wife might say, you know what, we got $400,000 now. I think this is a great opportunity for me to make my own life. And divorces Sam and tries to take half of the money with her. The other thing is, what we usually see, that's my key? The other thing we see is Sam may be well-intentioned and want to be able to provide for his sister, but usually what we see is within 18 months, whatever money was left for Julie's care somehow just disappears. I've heard of things like a lake house was purchased with the money because Julie loved going to the lake. And so Sam bought a lake house. Well, after a couple of weeks, Julie lost interest in going to the lake house, so she was left in a group home for respite care while the family went to the lake. Those are the kinds of things that can happen, and there's nothing to stop it. Another thing that I've seen recently, there was an individual living in, are you familiar with Just People? It's a village down in Roswell for developmentally disabled adults. It's an apartment community type setting, but it's a gated community, and they have people who live there to help support those with disabilities. It's a roommate type situation. It's a 2-bedroom apartment, and each apartment has 2 people in it. Very good situation. They have lots of social activities, and all of that is all part of the fee to live there. And there was an individual living there. Mom had passed away, left everything to sister. Sister decided, you know what, living there's too expensive. I've got a basement, let's move her into the basement. Probably saving $3,000 a month by having the sister live in the basement. But now she is cut off from all her friends that she had at Just People. She had transportation to a job at Publix. That's gone now. And the sister that took her in decided, that job didn't matter anyway. To that individual, that job was everything. It was fulfillment, it was being out in the community, but the other sister just didn't see it that way. And there was nothing that could be done about it because it was not left in the right kind of trust. Failing to provide for the privacy of a child with special needs. This is a situation where if you have a will is probated in court. It is public record. You can go down to the probate court, not today because it's Saturday, but on Monday, and say, I just want to see what's been filed this past week. The clerks are going to scratch their head and look at you like you're kind of weird, but it's public record. You're allowed to do that. Now, some records get sealed, but they usually get sealed after the court has a hearing on it. Hopefully using a special needs trust, it helps you avoid choosing the wrong professionals. In this section, we looked at some common mistakes that people make when planning for their child with special needs. In the next section, we're going to look at how to create this special needs trust. So please join us for part 4.